Hello again. I'm ReRe and this is Exploration Crochet, part of the Yarn Overhook network. Today, we're tugging at a few troublesome threads. Those stubborn stereotypes about crochet and crocheters that have been hanging around far too long. From the grandma in a rocking chair image to the quiet side eye we sometimes get from our knitting cousins. It's time to unravel the myths and set the record straight. But before we dive in, let's define stereotyping. Stereotyping is the shortcut our brain takes when we label a whole group based on a few examples. I think you know what I mean. Now, I'm not saying everyone holds these ideas, but enough people do that it's worth talking about. So, all right, grab your favorite hook, put on your big person panties, and let's get started. Okay, so let's start with the big one. Although, thanks to the internet, it's not as big as it used to be. You know the one. Crochet is just for grandmas. It's boring. It's old-fashioned. Crochet has long been typecast as something only done by sweet little old ladies, God bless them, sitting in their rocking chairs, surrounded by cats and doilies. And while we love and have mad respect for the OGs of our craft, today crochet is done by everyone. Everywhere. I mean, pick your gen. Alpha, beta, gamma, Z, Y, X, doesn't matter, everyone crochets. And those famous granny squares, they're not just on afghans and tissue box covers, they're on runways, handbags, and even corsets. Crochet has never belonged to one generation. It's been reinvented again and again across decades and cultures. And boring? Crochet is meditative, but it's also mathematical, sculptural, and wildly expressive. Today's makers mix fibers and techniques, turning simple stitches into whatever their minds can dream up. Crochet isn't boring. It's not stuck in the past. It's writing the future one loop at a time. Sure, it may have started in old hands, but those hands belong to innovators, designers, engineers, and dreamers. And how about this one? It's not real art. Art is defined as the expression of human creativity and imagination, shaped into something that communicates emotion, thought, or beauty. To some people, crochet's just crafty, it ain't art. But crochet is actually both art and engineering. It's math, it's sculpture, it's storytelling, and it's everywhere. From kitchens and closets to gallery walls, city streets, and even NASA's Marshall Space Flight Center. I'll let you look that one up. Crochet's not just decoration, it's declaration. A wall hanging can tell a story, a soft sculpture can challenge perception, and a yarn bomb can make an entire city stop and smile. These aren't cute little loops. They're fiber expressions you can wear, walk through, or simply stand in awe of. Now tell me that's not art. Or knitting is more sophisticated. What? Even some knitters, and I say this with love, have looked at crochet as the simpler, less refined cousins. I've even had knitters say, crochet is just knots. Knots? What? This isn't macrame? Where this idea started, there's really no way of knowing for sure. I know crochet is younger, and some suspect the idea probably comes from the fact that knitting could be done by machine, which gave it commercial prestige. It was faster, scalable, and profitable. Crochet couldn't and still can't. So, for many, it stayed in the craft realm, whatever the craft realm is in 2025. But that ignores what makes it so special. Crochet builds form. It creates texture, structure, and dimension, things that machines simply cannot replicate. And it's not a competition. Some things are probably better suited to knitting. Okay. But crochet offers so much variety and flexibility that people need to be careful when they assume crochet can't fill in the blank. Besides, there's plenty of room and plenty of yarn for both. Ooh, how about crocheters only make blankets? If I had $1 for every time someone said, "Oh, you crochet? So you make blankets." Yes, we do love our Afghans. You could say they're the comfort food of crochet. But the story doesn't end at the couch. Some people still think crocheters only make granny squares, or everything is made with the double crochet stitch, or that every piece is loose, or holey, or stiff. Beautiful maybe, but definitely not wearable. And I must admit, when I was little, I used to think all crochet looked the same. And thanks to women's magazines, in a lot of ways it did. They set the tone for what should be made, what looked good where, and in a lot of ways, what crochet could and should be. And crocheters followed suit until they didn't. Modern makers have taken crochet to levels few imagined back then. We're creating couture gowns that drape like silk, 3D amigurumi that bring entire worlds to life, and architectural wall pieces that belong in galleries. Crochet isn't limited, it's limitless. From granny squares to expressionist art, makers are stitching new possibilities and blankets every day. Oh, and let's not forget, only women crochet. Please, for the record, men crochet too. They always have. In early European lace guilds, men were often the pattern designers, while women worked the thread. Crochet really wasn't gendered until the 19th century, when needlework was pushed into the domestic sphere and labeled women's work. But even then, and here in the United States, Dritz sponsored a national crochet contest in 1955, which had a men's division, which was won by a man. If you want to see him and his crocheting ability, there is archival footage available. Check out my blog, Loops, Lace, and Funnel Cakes, Crochet Goes to the Fair, at yarnoverhook.com. So let's be clear. All genders have been, and still are, into hooking. And finally, here's the one that really hits a nerve. Crochet isn't worth much. Because it can't be done by a machine, crochet often gets undervalued in a fast fashion world obsessed with speed and volume, which is just like so weird, right? I mean, handmade crochet takes time, real time. A lace gown or intricate afghan can take hundreds of hours to complete. Every loop is literally time made visible. And the current market is flooded with so-called crochet pieces. These aren't even handmade at all. Machine knits made to look like crochet, being worn by celebrities and wannabes. Cheap and not so cheap, mass produced, marketed as artisan or boho. And to the untrained eye, they might pass. But to anyone who knows the craft, it's disheartening. And then there's the other side, the real crochet made by skilled hands, but paid at heartbreakingly low wages. Around the world, artisans create exquisite garments for major brands, earning pennies per piece. Their artistry and time vanish behind price tags that wouldn't even cover the price of the yarn here in the States. In local markets, beautiful, fairly priced, handcrafted crochet displayed in one booth beside machine-made or exploitively produced knockoffs. It makes it harder for shoppers to justify the price difference, even though that difference represents all the things: authenticity, skill, and respect for human labor. Crochet isn't cheap, because every stitch holds someone's time and talent. Whew, and that was just 6, but I'm done. However, I will be addressing one other thing in the future: yarn manufacturers, yarn shops, and yarn crawls. But until then, when it comes down to it, crochet has always been more than what people think it is. And that's why I love being a part of this craft. It refuses to stay in one lane. It's craft, it's science, it's art, it's history. Every stitch is a small act of imagination or defiance or creation. So the next time someone shrugs and says, "Oh, crochet," smile and show them a hyperbolic reef, a wearable sculpture, or a 20-foot yarn installation that stops traffic, and say, "Yeah, crochet." I'm ReRe, and this has been Exploration Crochet. Thank you for spending a little time tangled up with me today, and until next time, keep your hooks high and your stereotypes thoroughly fraught. Thanks for listening.